I think socialising feels like a performance, and I've picked this gameplay of Batman because it shows him putting on a mask, and I feel like when socialising, we often put on a mask. Now, there are different social roles in society, depending on the different scenarios and your culture, of course. But very few people are going to act the same around their family as they would around strangers or at work or with friends. In the work scenario, you're expected to be professional and to be polite and to pretend you want to be motivated to do everything when really most people don't want to even be there in the first place. And you've got to make small talk and smile when expected, etc. And this is performing. This is not actually showing your true self. With friends, you could argue that would be the time when you can show your true self the most. You can, make jokes, sometimes, rude jokes on occasion, and, talk about things that you wouldn't talk about with others. And I think those moments are good, but you're expected to show positive energy a lot. And I feel like in the West, when you're not showing that, people will criticise you for it. Sometimes you'll get ridiculed for it as well, especially if you're showing anxiety or just being awkward or unhappy. People don't like that and will lash out at it because they're trying to hide that emotion that they have as well. So I feel like it sort of adds to the need, that the reason why people perform is because that they feel like that's the best way to live a comfortable life, I guess. But there's unwritten social rules. There's the polite laughter, even when jokes are rubbish, pretending to be interested in conversations you're not interested in. Happened a lot at work. Small talk, and it just feels like you're following a script, and that's why you feel like an actor. And having to appear confident to be liked by people, hiding certain opinions about things if it's not what the majority of people believe, then you often don't feel comfortable giving that opinion, and I don't think that's always a good thing. Obviously there are exceptions, but in general I think it's good to be authentic. And these moments when the mask is lifted and you can show your true self is great. And actually it's the opposite in Batman. I feel like he is his true self when he is Batman and not when he's Bruce Wayne, but you get my point. I think these things sort of impact why things are the way they are. Basically, the media essentially programs us, and things like education as well. You're brought up to be polite, obedient, and do as you're told, be hardworking, and not to have thoughts of your own. And I feel like you sort of lose a bit of your joy because of these things. I feel like the more performances you have to do in life, the less of yourself you actually are aware of. And there becomes a sort of a grey area of, do you want to be performative but get by in life and have a functional life, or do you want to be yourself but there's a high chance that you won't fit in? So there is that big question, really. And I don't know, I suppose it depends on the scenario, it depends on the current situation you're in as to what you're going to choose. But it's not something people really think about consciously, and it is something people are doing but are just unaware of it. But I think all the times when it's sort of the most apparent is when you're at work, when you kind of you can't be yourself, you can't give your real opinions, and you can't just express yourself. And I just feel it's a shame, because the conversations would just be so much more interesting if you could just like feel like you could be honest and be like, talking about, I don't know, some of the best conversations I've had have been, you know, quite deep conversations about just the interesting things in life, like why people do certain things. And I've rarely even had that even with people that I've called friends before. You know, you normally just talk about, you know, random small talk, which is fine. Sometimes I don't mind talking about games and stuff. But I don't know, I just feel like it becomes a little bit tedious. And yeah, I think that's the main reason for the video. The performative nature and expectation of socializing has meant that everyone's wearing masks at these places. You never really, you know, there's no authenticity. And in fact, actually, the strange thing is a lot of the time on YouTube now, a lot of the more authentic channels have started rising, have started becoming more popular. So I think people are actually crying out for it. With channels like Clavicular and Face IQ, these channels, yes, they're talking about relevant topics that have grown, but the reason they grew is because of the way they behaved, because they were willing to offend people, because they're willing to give their opinions and behave in a way that society normally deems as unacceptable, but because they're doing it parasocially, you know, via the internet and not in real life, it's people able to actually show that they do agree with a lot of these things that are being said, and not necessarily with the methods, for example, of clavicular and looks maxing, but the fact that certain things are being mentioned, that looks do matter in life and things like that. I just feel like a lot of these things were expected to perform and pretend that they don't matter when they actually do. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. Thanks.